Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to format a children's book for print on demand. As more and more traditional publishing houses are tightening their belts and they're shrinking their author list, many children's book authors and illustrators are turning to self-publishing. Not only because of the tightening of the belt. I mean, if you get accepted with a traditional publisher, your royalties, the author has to share royalties with the illustrator, so that's 5% each. And then considering it's often upwards of 2 years, a big 2-year wait before the book's published. So it's not surprising that a lot of children's books authors are going independent. It can be daunting though, because publishing, or should I say formatting a print book, especially a full bleed book, which means the pictures go right to the edge of the page, where it looks professional and not like you've just inserted the pictures with Microsoft Word. It's not easy, and it costs are very high. To hire a formatter for a book like that, it's ridiculously expensive. It can run into the thousands. Also, Photoshop, not everybody's clued up with that. They want to write a book for children, but they don't know how to use Photoshop, or they can't afford to use Photoshop. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be using open source software, very good open source software. What open source software is free software. It's generally a group of people who get together and decide, well, okay, they don't feel like paying the huge amount of money, so they're going to create something themselves. So I'm going to be sharing 3 different software packages with you, which you can use. If you do have Photoshop or GIMP and you know how to use it, go ahead and use that. It's pretty much the same thing. Otherwise, use what I'm going to show you. You don't want to scrimp on this, and these programs are very good. This is not scrimping. So let's begin. So today we're going to be formatting your children's book for print format, for print on demand. So before you start, get everything you're going to need ready and ready to use. So you're going to need your manuscript, preferably typed. You'll need your images, depending on what images you've got, either your traditionally painted ones, like that's a watercolor or a pastel. Those you'll need to scan at high resolution, 300 dpi, and we'll get into that a little bit later. If you've got your pardon the parrots, if you've got your images on your computer already from your designer, your illustrator, or if you've done them yourself in digital format, that's fine. Just keep them all in one folder and ready to go. You'll also need your front matter, whatever you're going to put in the front of your book. If you're going to have an image on your title page, your ISBN numbers, if you're using them. If you're using Amazon, they'll supply an ISBN number for you. Otherwise, it's always best to have your own ISBN number, but that's up to you. Your back matter, you might want to have something in there about other books you've written, about the author. Get all that stuff ready. If you use Photoshop or GIMP, that's fine. If you don't, I'll show you what to download in a minute. For now, I suggest, if you haven't already, this is a storyboard. If you haven't already got one, this is for a standard 32 page. 32 pages is common for children's books. We'll go into how you use those pages later. What you normally do is you'll just put little thumbnail sketches in each block, so you know where you're going. It's very useful to make yourself a little dummy book before you start formatting. Just do little rough stick figures on each page to show you where your pictures are going to be placed and how they'll be situated on the page. And then write down all the text that you're going to have on the page and where you are wanting it situated. As you go through formatting your book page by page, it can be quite tedious if you have to redo pages. So with this little dummy book, you should get it right the first time. So the first software that you'd want to download will be paint.net. It's a very useful program, but all the programs we're going to be downloading now are going to be specific to this tutorial. We'll speak about them later. Second software download will be Krita, which is a fabulous drawing program, but we will only be using it for touch-ups in this video. All of these things are free and open source, so there's no fee involved and no watermarks, no silly things like that. So download Krita then. The most important software for this tutorial is Scribus. Download that. That's what we'll be using to format your book with and to get the correct output PDF file. With Scribus, you'll also need Ghost Script. It won't work without Ghost Script, so download that as well. Once you've downloaded Krita, have a look at it. There's so much to see, and we can't do that in this tutorial. We're only going to be looking at a little bit of touching up, really. But if you do have a pen and tablet, then absolutely, this is a wonderful program. So go to File, open your scanned image, find it wherever it is on your computer, and click Open. Once it's open on your computer, you want to check to see that it has scanned at 300 dpi, and you use that by going to Image and Properties. You will see once you open Properties that it has scanned at 300. You'll also see that it's in RGB color mode, which is interesting, but not anything to worry about at this point. Once you've done that, you want to go to Scale Image to New Size, because we're going to do a few touch-ups here. So you see your resolution for touch-ups is 118. Bring that up to 300, or whatever it is. Just bring it up to 300 and bring down the width of the pixels, because that's too big. Bring it down to 24 or 25, which is quite good enough at 300 dpi. And then say OK. Once you've done that, you will see that it becomes very small. Just zoom in with your little mouse wheel to get it to the size you want, so you can see what needs to be done. You'll see a little bit of smudging there that we could work on, and without a pen and tablet you can't do really fine line work, but you can do cleaning up and sorting out the edges and stuff like that. Just a quick word on RGB and CMYK. I mean, RGB is red, green, blue. CMYK is cyan, magenta, and yellow. The first one is basically something that you'd use for your computer. It's brighter colors on computer screens, whereas CMYK is used by printers. When you go into your, if you have a look here, you can see you can actually convert the images with Krita to CMYK, but don't do that. Leave it as RGB, because we're going to convert it when we make our PDF file later on for upload. So don't try and convert a traditionally drawn picture here into CMYK. The only time you'd really use CMYK is if you're actually doing digital illustration, and then you'd actually go in and do your illustration in CMYK to begin with. But in this instance, it's not necessary. I mean, the printers are so great these days, you don't need to worry too much. It converts. You lose a little bit of color, you lose a little bit of brightness, but at least with your RGB images, you're still keeping that for your ebooks and your online marketing and so on. To touch up your images here, basically, as I said, you have your little color selector here on the left. You have click on layers over here. You can add another, so that you don't mess with the actual original layer, or you can mess with the original layer. It doesn't really matter, because you still have your original picture. So whatever you do here is fine. To touch up, you want to use some of Krita's brushes. So you'd go into your brush selector, which is up at the top here, choose brush setting, and click on all over here. You can see there's a huge variety of brushes, but for this particular tutorial we can't go into it. It'll take hours. So just pick an airbrush or an eraser. In this instance, we're going to pick an airbrush, not the eraser. We're going to pick an airbrush and just get rid of that little bit of red smudging. So there it is. At the top here, you can see where you can select your opacity, your size, and then to the left you have what they call a color picker. So click on that, and then take it across and click on the background of the color behind the mushroom here. So we get that color. Click on that and it'll choose that color. Krita will choose it. You'll see it coming up in your little color selector on the left. Next, go back to your brush and rub it. Just rub it across. You'll see there it's taking away the smudges. And once you've done that, just file, save as, and save the newly fixed picture to your temporary file or whichever file you're using for your images. The first thing we're going to do is to create master pages for your book so that you don't have to fiddle one at a time. Your resolution will be 300, obviously on the new page that you're creating. For an 8 by 10 book, you'd include the bleed in your master page. So your width would be 8.125 and your height would be 10.250, which is your trim size plus your bleed size. Click OK. Then you have your master page there. You'll now save it. Try and have a temporary folder for this particular book so that you don't have to be fiddling around all over your computer. You'll want a JPEG image for your book. So click on that where you choose and choose a name for your master page, master 8125 or whatever. And then by 10.250 master and save it as that. Once you've saved it, you will then reopen it for every single new page you create. So when you click OK, it'll ask you to flatten. Always say yes. You want all your layers flattened before you can use any image for print on demand anyway. So that's fine. There you have your master page. Now, for a new image, we're going to open it. So you'll obviously go to File. Instead of creating new there, you'll click Open. It'll take you to your file. You'll then double click on your master page and there it is. There's your page ready for putting your images and your text on. Firstly, we're going to add the images to all the pages. And then once we have them all saved, we're going to open them up and put text on. So to make our image pages, you've got your master. You'll have obviously saved all your images in the same folder. You're going to click on layers and click on import from file. So you're going to import a layer. You're not going to create a new layer. You'll see all your little images there. Click on that one. I'm using this little birdie here for this one. You can move it, stretch it. You can make the image smaller, bigger. And as I'm going to do now, you can flip it vertically or horizontally. I'm going to flip this one horizontally so that the tree is flush with the left-hand side of this page because that's where I want it. So go into layers and then you'll see there, flip horizontal, flip it. And your birdie will be positioned where you want it to be. Just see that little arrow in the top there of the toolbox and just click on the page and you'll be able to move the whole page wherever you want it. Next, we're going to save this blank page without the text to our file so that in case we make mistakes with text or whatever later, we always have our original blank page without having to redo it every time. So save as, go to your folder. Once again, we're going to want a JPEG file. And you're going to want to save your pages, page 1 or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever page number it is. So there we go, JPG. Click on your page, your file name, and then choose your file name, which in this case, we're going to use a page number. You can put page number 1 blank or just page number 1 or 2 or whatever. And then save that, flatten it. And then once you have all your pages for your book saved, you're going to open them one by one and then do the text. So click on Save, OK, Flatten. There you go. Right, it's now saving. So step 2, you're also going to have, you can have your whole book as spreads, or you can have single pages, or you can have a mixture of both. So make yourself a master of a spread page as well. That's, in other words, 2 facing pages where you use one image. So very simply, you create a master with the width being double the width of a single page, including bleed. So you duplicate 8.125 by 2, and that will give you 16.250 for your width. Your height remains the same, obviously, in the book, 10.250. Size your images correctly so that they don't overlap, then import it. Once again, you're going to save your page, which is correctly sized before putting text. So you're going to save it as a JPEG. You're going to call it something. In this instance, I'm going to say pages 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, whichever pages they happen to be, and save that. And then once we're done, we're now going to start opening up our preset page sizes, and we're going to add the text. So for the first, well, this book, I would just like to say, this is not a particular book. I'm just using various images whacked together. There's no sense to the words or the pictures or where everything's situated. So don't worry about what's actually happening here. It's not really a story. It's just a conglomeration of various images that I have on my computer. So now for the first one, we're going to do a single page. We've opened our master. We're going to import our page or our picture. In this case, we're going to import our page, which is down at the bottom here. I've called it page 4. No, I'm lying. It's actually page 1. Which one am I opening here? Sorry, page 1. Okay, this is just an arbitrary image. Right, so now this is an example of using the image in the top left-hand corner. You could have it as a little spread at the bottom and put the text on top, whichever you want to do. In this instance, we're now going to add text. So we're going to add a layer, just a blank layer. So you click on layers, add new layer. Next, we click on the T button on the left there, the text button. You'll see it'll open up at the top. You'll be able to choose your fonts and your size of fonts. I'm just going to go for something simple here. You can actually choose any font you like. There's a whole lot of free fonts on the internet that you can download for free or pay. I'm going to use Garamond here just to get started so you can see. Right, now we don't want it to start underneath the flower, so we're going to start to the right of the flower. We're going to get our size right. Just click on the page wherever you want to begin your text for the page. So we're just going to type in anything here, once upon a time, and every time you push your carriage return, it'll take you back to beneath where you clicked your cursor. So it's not going to go all the way to the left of the page. It's going to take you back to where you started. So we'll just type something in here, just to get down to where more or less where the flowers are. You can move your text around. I'll show you in a minute. In between typing or while you've typed, after you've typed it, you can move it around the page as you want it. Let's just get this here. Okay, there we're moving it a little bit. As you can see, you just grab that little square button at the bottom there with your little hand, and you can move it around wherever you want it. Make sure that your text is obviously not anywhere near your margins, because Amazon is not as friendly as CreateSpace. They don't make allowances. You can make your text a different size, and you can see what it's like while it's there. Just, as you can see, changing different sizes there, bigger, smaller. Once you're happy, you can just leave it as it is. Now we want our text to begin flush with, on the left-hand side of the page beneath the flower. So you're going to need a new layer to do that. You can't move on a layer. Like, for instance, if you want to move that, you'll have to move all the text. So now for the next segment of text, you're going to have to create a new layer if you wanted to begin in a different place. So once again, you go up to layers on your top bar there, add new layer. Click on the page where you want your next segment of text to begin, and you just simply type it in, whatever you want there. As I said, with this particular program, you can change the font color. You can, if you want to change the angle of your text, for instance, you could just simply go up to the top. You'll see that little arrow there in the toolbox on the second from the left on the top bar. Just click on your page and you'll get little handles where you can turn it. So your text can be at any angle. It can be positioned anywhere. It can be any size, any color, and any font. So whichever way you want it to be is fine. As with Krita, Paint.net is very similar to Photoshop with layers. And I mean, in a future video, we'll do the different types of effects you can get to do different cover designs and stuff like that. People with Photoshop obviously have got the best of both worlds when it comes to illustration and manipulation. But as far as cash is concerned, it's very expensive to pay for Photoshop on a monthly basis. So these are open source programs. With an open source, a free open source program means that you get everything for free. There's no there's no watermarks. There's nothing you have to do. So you get everything, even though you have to use two different programs. They're both very good programs. So as I said, I really recommend this paint.net. It's got huge amounts of effects. It's got plugins. And as you move along with it, you'll find a whole lot of different uses for it. Even as an author who is not into art or fancy creation of anything like that, you'll still find uses for it, I promise you, as an author. Anyway, here we're getting to the end of our page. We've now put in all sorts of text. We're going to save it as a page with text to insert in our book. So you'll have one folder, or you can have it all in one folder. You'll have one section where you've got your blank pages that are correctly sized according to your master so that they're ready to go into your book. You have to be the exact size. So don't think that you can make an 8x10 picture and it's going to fit into your Scribus book. It's not going to. Make sure that your sizes are all 100% correct. And even before saving, go and have a look and click on image, click on resize, and just make sure that the page size and the resolution and everything is as you want it before saving it. So now we're going to save, and then we're going to move on to our spread, which is fairly straightforward. Here, I just want to have a look here. You can see the different fonts. I've got a whole lot of extra fonts. So you can change it after you've typed the whole thing, and then just go back to what you wanted. You can just keep on going until you're happy before saving it. But obviously with children's books, you don't want anything too overpowering and hurt their little eyeballs. So now we're going to save this. So you go to JPEG, select that, choose your page number or whatever you want to title your page as. I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call this page 1 with text. I'm not going to put words, page 1 text, so I know exactly what it is and where to find it. Click OK and flatten, and there you go, there's that one. Okay, that one's saved. Right, now next we're going to do our double page, our spread. So we're going to go down to where we've saved our blank pages 2 and 3 spread. Open it up. Again, this is 2 pages, so have a look. You'll see in the middle there around the 8 mark, that's where the middle of your book is. So you don't want any text to go anywhere near that. And you also want your text to be centered, or, well, not centered, but you want it to be pleasingly situated on your pages. So check your margins on the left and above. Make sure that you're not going over anything you shouldn't go over. Now, as far as font color is concerned, putting black on a green background, you could do it. Maybe if it was a little bit bigger than that, it's up to you. But do think about using different color fonts. Nice against this dark green and brown background would be yellow, for instance. So you'd want to make sure your size was a little bit bigger. You could use this particular size and with a black font, but you know, and why not make it look a little bit exciting? So there we've picked yellow. You go down to your colors at the bottom, click on any color you want over there. You can also make your own colors by using the color wheel in there. Click on your sizes, get your size right so that you know, we're not going to do text all over the whole page. So we just want a little bit at the top on the left here, and then the left-hand page, and then a little bit at the bottom on the right-hand page. So make sure your text your fonts are big enough so they are visible. Now, upset over there has gone a little bit over the middle, so we will take that off. We can then maybe resize our font so that it goes a little bit bigger, move it around so that it's in a pleasing position and you can see it. Your fonts don't have to be the same sizes on each page, as long as there's some kind of conformity. Obviously, you don't want a black and white page and then a yellow page and then a pink page and a blue page or whatever. I mean, just use your artistic abilities and see where you want to put it. Right, so now, once again, after we've done our text on the left page, we're going to add a new layer to apply the text to the right page. You'll see at the top there that you don't have a choice to justify text on this program, but you can align left, you can align right, or you can center. On this page, we're aligning left. But once again, you can center it, you can do whatever you want. There's no spell check on paint.net, so make sure you double and triple check your spelling and where all your commas and dashes and dots are before you save. Now we're adding a new layer, so we can go onto the right page, move along, click your cursor where you want it. Now again, we can move it, so there's not too many words here. Take note of where your margins are again. Don't go anywhere near a margin. Never mind going up to the bleed. Just stay well away from margins. Amazon are not, they don't mess around, and they're not prepared to fiddle the way CreateSpace used to fiddle to assist you. Amazon will just refuse until you get it right. Now on this side, the right hand side, we're going to try maybe centering the text, because that doesn't look that fabulous. It's okay. It's not encroaching too much on the bottom of the page, so you don't really have to worry about encroaching on your margin, but still it might look a little bit better if you centered the text. So let's try that, and just move it back to where you want it. Fiddle around there, get your flowers positioned, and there you have it. Right, so now let's move on to Scribus. We'll get into Scribus in a more in-depth way in a future video, but for now I'm going to give you very exact and precise measurements purely to load a children's book. That's all. I'm going to tell you how to do it, not why to do it. So you open Scribus, you automatically get a new document open in front of you. So click on double-sided. That would be your left and right page. So click on double-sided. Next, change your default unit, which is currently points. Change that to inches, which is what we're going to be working with. Next, go up to the top there and select your page size as custom. Now, we're not going to include bleed here, so your width, your book this is an 8 by 10 book, so your width is going to be 8 and your height is going to be 10. We will add the bleed at a later point. Next, head off to your margins. Make sure that the little locking icon is clicked open so that you can click whatever you want in there. Firstly, your margins it's up to you. I use 0.375 for a book this size all around. So click in 375 on all 4 sides, inside, outside, top and bottom. Next, you'll see next to margins up there is bleeds. Click on bleeds. When you go to bleeds, make sure that the little locking icon is unlocked. See, unlocked, because you want the inside inside bleed to be 0. Next, we're going to do outside, top and bottom, which is 1250 all around. And then just do this last one at the bottom here. And then finally on this page, you're going to choose the number of pages, which would be whatever the number of pages in your book is. It would be 32 or 28 or whatever. It's up to you. For this example, I'm just slapping together a couple of pages. So we're going to just, rather than use 32 pages and waste time loading it, we're going to just say 5. Then click OK. And that'll take us to your actual document. You'll see that the red line over there is your bleed and the blue line is your margin. Now this is simple. I'm going to give you actual measurements. You can see we have our 5 pages over there. And we're going to go back up to the top. Now before you can do anything, you have to insert either a text box or an image box. So we are inserting our pages as a whole page is one image. So we're going to put insert image frame. Okay, now just click it in there and drag it out to any size, as long as it's not beyond the page margins. Now click F2 for your properties, and I'm going to give you the exact measurements for a right-hand side page. So, and I'll also put a little note there so you can copy it down. Your X position and your Y position, okay? I'll explain that to you in another video, but for now, just trust me. Your right-hand side page, X position is 0.00. Y position is minus 0.125. And on this occasion, we do add our bleeds to width and height. So it's 81250, height 10.250. So this will, you'll see, if you have a look, your page is exact, absolutely exact. You've already made your images, which are also the exact same size. So now in order to bring your image into this page, you're going to click on Control and I, which will open up your little browser box so you can bring it up from your computer. So just click Control and I, and then select the image you want to bring in for this page. This is a single page, not a spread. So I'm going to just click on one of the single pages that we made earlier on. If you make a mistake like I just did now, just click on the undo button there, the yellow one at the top. Right, and then bring in the correct image with the text on, and that should appear shortly. Okay, you can once you've brought your image in, you can lock each page, but it's not necessary. But if you are nervous, just lock each page after you've done it, which means that there's no way it's moving anyway. So, but I'm not going to lock this. Just click on the one I want so that you'll see it fits exactly above our measurements, which is, as you can see, a perfect fit. Now for pages 2 and 3, we're going to do a spread. Now this is quite simple, really. You're going to use your X position of a left-hand page and your Y position of a right-hand page. I'm going to type these down and put it as an insert so you can copy them down. So for a spread, your X position will be minus 0.125. Obviously, you bring your text box in, and in this case, you take your text box a little bit over, so it shows the Scribus that you want 2 pages. Okay, so as I said, X position would be your left-hand page size, which is minus 0.125, and your Y position, which would be for your right-hand page, that would also be minus 0.125. And then in this instance, your page width would be 16.250, because remember we've got a double page here, a spread, 16.250 there. And your height would remain the same, which is 10.250. And you'll see with these, when you type your figures in, rather than stretching and fiddling with the thing, it gives you an exact image box. There's no need to mess around. Again, you go CI to bring your image in, and you click on the image we made earlier of the snail over there. There you go. And you'll see shortly how this program cuts that in half, because for printing you have to, they don't take double pages. So these pages then Scribus will cut them in half so that they get loaded onto your PDF as single pages, but perfect fit when they get published. Here we have a left page, so your X position on the left is minus 0.125. Your Y position is minus 0.125. That's on a left-hand facing page. And as I said, in a future tutorial, we'll go through how this all works, and we'll also do how to format a textbook for, not a textbook, I mean a book with only text in, like a fiction or non-fiction book with Scribus. Very, very good stuff. There you go. Single page we're using here, 8.125 and 10.250. Okay, there you go. We're just going to use the same page again because it's easier. So it's Control I to grab an image from your folder. Just grab the same one. We just want to see that it fits, so it doesn't really matter what page we're using. Okay, and there you go. Now I want to show you the next page, right-hand page again. So for your right-hand X and Y positions, you must make sure that you can see red. So click on the right-hand page so you can see your red bleed. So you're actually on that page. You'll see the little red outline over there, and you'll know you're in the right place, because you don't want to be clicking on the wrong page. Insert a picture frame, and then you go and you do your geometry over there, which is X position for right-hand page is 0.00. And your Y position is minus 0.125. and then your width and height as usual. Now, I just want to show you, if you want to do blank pages like in the back of your book or in the front of your book, use your master page. Don't just leave it blank. Actually insert a blank page. It's so much easier than having Scribus tell you there's something missing, or, you know, just insert a page, even if it's a blank page. So here we're going to insert a blank page, which is our master. So we'll have a blank page there. There you go. And then just finally, by way of a suggestion, your end pages in a children's book, you don't have to leave them blank. I mean, you can put little pictures on them, or you can have a watercolor design or anything like that. So we're just gonna put a little bit of something like that here. This actually is a bit eye-watering with these little images I've used here. Nothing matches, but that's fine. This tutorial is for the purpose of how to, not what to. Okay, and once you've got all your bits in, you can go to your first page and go through, just scroll through and see that everything is where you want it to be. Then it's time for making your PDF. So you go to File, Export, Save as PDF. Select your document name, whatever you want to name your book as, and it'll take you to your Scribus file, obviously, or wherever you want to save it. You can change that. Now, this is fairly simple. So firstly, you want to make sure that your resolution is 300 dpi. Then you want to choose your 1.3 PDF 1.3 Acrobat 4. Don't change anything other than that on this page. Next, we want to go to fonts. Always embed all, even if you're not using fonts. Even if you haven't typed a word, just embed all. It's safer. Pre-press, use document bleeds. Just make sure that use document bleeds is checked. Don't do anything else on that page. Color, you don't want screen because we're doing this for print. So you go on there and you select printer. Don't click on anything else here. Don't use convert spot colors. Don't do anything else. Just once you've got that, you're ready to go. This will convert all your RGB to CMYK, and we'll get into more of that as well in a future video. This one's just getting a bit long. And then click Save. So there you have it. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments below, and please subscribe and click the notification bell, because I will definitely be posting a lot more videos on tutorials, as well as thoughts and ideas about publishing, self-publishing, and writing in general. Thank you. Bye.